I hear so many Christians murmuring about their imperfections and their failures and their addictions and their shortcomings. And I see so little war. Murmur, murmur, murmur. Why am I this way? Make war!
Hello, my name is William Clark. I'm here on behalf of the Iron Lotus Society. You can visit us at our website at www.theironlotussociety.com, where you can find iron palm training tips and videos, as well as quality products like our 2-hour-long DVD chock full of information you won't find on any other iron palm DVD for the same price. Total Iron Palm. You can order that directly through us. Simply shoot me an email at die694@gmail.com. Today I want to add an addendum to your training regarding the breaking of coconuts. In the Iron Palm community, breaking coconuts is something that's become a little more mainstream as time has come on. Of course, we know that James Lacey was really the first one to present coconut breaking publicly, and now quite a few people have come forward breaking coconuts with their iron palm skills. Breaking coconuts is unique in the fact that the coconut gives and gives back. So, unlike a block, when you break it, you receive the residual impact regardless of whether you break the coconut or not. Generally, when breaking blocks, when you break the block, you feel little or no residual impact, well, because basically none is passing back into the body, or very little is passing back into the body because of the breakage in the blocks. That is not true in coconuts at all. So what we've got to do is we've got to prepare the forearm and wrist, both in strength and conditioning, in order to take the impact. The reason being is because a lot of times when you hit a coconut, it doesn't really affect the bones, which is what people are concerned about. It more affects the musculature of the wrist and the forearm, which may cause some stiffness, not allowing you to raise or lower the wrist or the hand completely after about a day after breaking coconuts. This happens whether you're successful or unsuccessful. It does not make a difference. It still affects the musculature in the same way, and so we want to train those portions of musculature, and we also want to condition the skin, bones, and muscles as we're used to with iron palm. So I hope that you enjoy this addendum, and I hope that you can find something useful out of it and add it to your training in regards to breaking coconuts. Okay, the first exercise that we're going to add to our training regimen is raising the pot, or raising the water pot. You might have heard that called. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to attach something heavy to a bar and a rope with which we can then roll and strengthen the forearms and the wrists through continuous conditioning by lifting that weight via the string. Basically, what I have here is just a simple dumbbell set, and basically what it is it's just I've got 10 pounds. You can start with whatever weight you want, or you can even move up in weight, but just as a medial weight, I think 10 pounds is probably good. You can probably do up to 25, 30 pounds if you're strong enough, but it takes a good bit of conditioning, so start it wherever you want. But basically, I've got a simple knot tied around the dumbbell bar. Okay, and then I'm going to hang that string and tie it around my weights. Make sure that all of these are very secure and tight. Multiple knots and multiple passes through. These things will break the twine, and they can come loose and hit you in the foot or the shin, or God forbid anywhere else. So make sure when you're tying these implements that you tie them very tight. Basically what we want to do is we want to do this exercise 2 different ways. First things first, if you hang it just like this by the knot, you're not going to roll it up. It's just going to slide. The reason is because in order to make a tight enough knot, this portion of the loop has to be a little loose. So basically what we want to do is set it on the ground and make one pass. Just like this. Okay? We want to pass it over once. Just a good loop. Now that'll hold it. Okay? So, the first way that we want to do it is we want to condition the top of the wrists and forearm musculature. So you're going to do it with the loop and the rope hanging over in an overhand fashion. And what you want to do is you want to hold the weight up and you want to begin to roll using the wrists. Now, as you get tired, your arms may shift a little bit, but try to avoid doing this. Try to simply stick with the wrists and roll the weight up. Breathe as you get to the top because it will get difficult, and just make sure that you're rolling all the way to the top. You should feel it in your forearms and your wrists. Won't take long to feel it at all, no matter how much conditioning you've done. It's a very difficult exercise. Okay, now, once you've done that, you want to turn it around and hit the other side of the forearm musculature. How do we do that? Well, we simply flip the dumbbell around now that's hanging in a underhand fashion. So, basically what we want to do is the exact same thing. We want to lift the weights up off the ground, keep it as steady as possible, and roll using the bottom of the forearms Now, when you're rolling using the bottom of the forearms, one important thing to remember is not to let your arms drop. Try to keep them as straight as possible. Reason is because you want a strong wrist action, because you're not only conditioning and training the strength in the forearms, you're also training this and this reaction in the wrist. So you want a strong musculature with which to move the wrist and to strike and make your strikes more effective. That is raising the water pot. Okay, the next item we have here is a one-sided dumbbell, and basically what I've just done is taken a single plate, screwed it onto one side, and I've made a weight on the top, no weight on the bottom. This is a very simple exercise. To get a good base, you want to extend the arm, let it drop, and pull it back up using the forearm and wrist strength. Don't pull it back with your body, because that's not accomplishing the same thing. Just pull with the forearm and wrist. And you can put a little jing in the wrist, that's okay. Okay? And you want to do that from about 10 to 20 repetitions, just depending on how conditioned you are. You can do it in both hands, and over time you can increase the weight if you'd like. Okay? You can also do a conditioning exercise of tilting from side to side and holding. This is going to make the bones and musculature around your forearm stronger and more conditioned to impact and trauma. So, feel free to use the one-sided dumbbell whatever way that you can, but these two exercises are sure to increase the musculature and strength in the forearm for breaking of coconuts. Okay, the next exercise is going to involve a tree, and this is going to be a little bit of a traditional and non-traditional take on something, which is beating the arms or conditioning the forearms against a hard object. Now, do not start this training off by swinging your arm as hard as you can into the tree. You'll hurt it and you'll be out of commission for a long time, okay, if not forever if you do something really bad to it. Okay, so you want to start with something that gives a little bit of a shock, but not too much. You can build up over time, just like with iron palm conditioning. You want to start very simple and soft with this. Now, the method's going to look like this. We want to hit the underside of the forearm, and then the back side of the forearm, and then the bone side of the forearm. Okay? So, we want to hit musculature, musculature, radius. Okay? Musculature, musculature, radius. This gives us both muscular conditioning and bone conditioning. So, looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now be careful, because sometimes trees have little areas that jut out, so be very careful about the tree you pick and how hard you hit the tree. Okay, so for the next exercise we're going to stay on the tree here. Now if you can, find an area of the tree that's bowed out and round. Okay, not necessarily jagged, but just sort of bowed out and round. This is going to give us the same impact as striking the coconut, which is a round surface. Now, the key to this is the difference in striking. Normally when we strike the bag, we hit with the palm heel and push into the bag a little bit, okay, to create sort of a good conditioning pad and to get some penetration. Now, on this particular exercise, you want to strike the tree exactly as you would the coconut. This means with a sort of a more chopping motion, not really hard chopping, and not against the wrist, but still on the meat of the palm here, just against the tree. Very light, and you'll feel a slight jar in your wrists and your forearm, You want to start very light with this and build up. Start with as few as 5 repetitions with very light strikes, and then you can work up to 10, 20, 30, whatever you're comfortable with increasing intensity strikes. You can do this on one side or both sides, but this will simulate striking the coconut surface, and really it simulates the give that the coconut hits back into the arm when you strike. The next exercise that we're going to do is simply a massage and conditioning at the same time. So basically you want to find a flat surface or somewhere where you can rest your arm, and if you can find a partner, that'd be even better. Basically what you want to do is you want to take a stick or some kind of baton that is not very big in circumference. It needs to be very small, or at least not just huge, because the idea is that it needs to cut and penetrate the arm just a little bit. Basically what we're going to do is when you lay your arm out, you're going to take the medium and you're going to roll it or rub it across the arm, not necessarily as hard as you can, but about 50-60% until you feel the nerves and the skin being activated. Now, you want to do this about 10 to 20 times until the arm is red. You don't want to just beat your arm up, but you do want to give it a good blood flow workout, and you want to make sure that you condition the musculature of the forearm and the wrist while doing this. This also acts as a sort of massage to get blood into the area that we've until now been working out. So just a simple massage with the baton or even the dumbbell. So anything that you can roll or move along the arm that will help blood flow into the arm is suggested. Okay, the last exercise we're going to do is going to involve the tree again. So what you want to do is you want to take a heavy implement. I bought a miniature sledgehammer. They retail, for about, I think maybe $10 to $15. They're really not that expensive. This one's got a good, strong polycarb handle, and it's heavy. When we do this exercise, you want something with a heavy, basically a heavy top. Okay, so it can't just be a stick or something, because you won't get the correct conditioning. So basically what we want to do is we want to do club swings against the tree, vertical and horizontal, in order to train the wrist for impact without directly slamming it into something. So we want to take this, hit, strike the tree, and you want to strike all the way through. Okay, vertical striking, keep the elbow solid, use the wrist and let it react. Let the wrist react the way it will, because not only does that show where the weakness in musculature is, but it helps train that area of the wrist as well and train you to keep better control and coordination in the wrist. Now, same thing with sideways strikes. Keep the elbow solid, strike sideways. Keep the hand up and strike the tree. 10 to 20 reps should be sufficient for training the musculature of the hand, the wrist, and the forearm. Okay, now that we've talked about all of these training implements and their application, I want you to try and add them to your iron palm if you're able to, if you're thinking about breaking coconuts. They will increase the forearm strength, wrist strength, and the overall bone structure and musculature of the wrist and the forearm in order to take the impact better. It's always better to be over-prepared for a break than under-prepared. So, though it seems tedious, these exercises will add a new dimension to your training and will increase your ability to break the coconuts or to withstand the impact while training to break the coconuts. One more thing I want to suggest is, if you want more direct training on a coconut husk, one of the best things you can do is when you go to do your iron palm conditioning after you've trained all these implements, you can put a coconut on top of your bag. Strike it as you would to break it about 20 times. Do not strike it with the intention to break it, as in do not hit it with 100% power. Hit it with maybe 50% power. Start with wherever is comfortable. You may cause some stiffness in your wrist and forearm at first. You may be hitting it too hard. Hit it a little lighter. As you condition on the coconut, you will be able to hit it harder and harder over time, just as you do with the bag. So that's another suggestion that you can try. It's a personal favorite exercise of mine to get used to breaking coconuts again. And remember that not all coconuts are consistent. So if you don't break one coconut, it doesn't necessarily mean you can't break coconuts. It just means that that particular one was pretty tough. So keep trying, be careful, Use plenty of dit-da gel on the arms and hands during this time, and always make sure that you are putting your iron palm conditioning first and adding things second. So if you do nothing else in the day, always hit your hand. But when you have extra time for these implements, use them as often as possible to strengthen the wrist and the forearm for your coconut breaking venture. Again, I'm Bill Clark for the Iron Lotus Society. Visit us at www.theironlotussociety.com for iron palm training tips, videos, and quality products. And please, if you have any questions, please email us on YouTube or email me at die694@gmail.com. And also visit our Facebook page. That's the Iron Lotus Society. You can simply type it in the search bar. We are under businesses, and simply like us to get all of the updates and feeds that we provide and addendums to your training. Thank you.